We're on the Canadian prairie in Edmonton, Alberta. The nation's northernmost city has a rich racing heritage dating back to the 1950s. In 2005, after a 23-year hiatus, motor racing returned to a fast, challenging circuit laid out at the city centre airport. Now, in 2006, the question on everyone's lips is, can AJ Allmendinger, winner of the last 3 races, join an elite group and make it 4 in a row? You know the story. Fired by Roosport, hired by Jerry Forsyth, then travels to Portland and wins his first race. He wins again in Cleveland and one more time in Toronto. It's been a scintillating display and one that has left the entire field, including his teammate and 2003 champion Paul Tracy, scratching their heads.
Concentrate on your marks. Go.
Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. The sights, the sounds, the exhilaration of a 185-mile-an-hour festival of speed. Hello and welcome to the Jag Flow Speedway at Edmonton City Centre Airport. I'm Jeremy Shaw, and alongside me today, instead of James Hinchcliffe, who's busy preparing himself for this afternoon's Atlantic Championship race, I'm joined by Champ Car News Manager Eric Mork. Eric, thanks for joining us. What a great place to go racing.
Absolutely, a great racetrack. This is an event that is rapidly becoming one of the jewels on the Champ Car schedule. Great fan support, and the crowds are filling up. The drivers love coming out here, and this is a track they really get racy on. They look forward to it. They talk about it for weeks afterwards. It's going to be a great race today.
AJ Allmendinger, we'd already talked about it. He's the man here this weekend. He was the man here 1 year ago, took his first ever pole position, but he threw it away. Late stages of the motor race, hit the wall. How dejected was he? Absolutely distraught. On Friday here, he made another mistake. He put the car in the wall there. He had a very fast car. He knew that. Again, total dejection. And Eric, he's got to get himself over these big mood swings, really.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the first time since he joined Forsyth that we saw a little bit of what we had seen before at Roosport with him. He was most definitely upset Friday when he tore that race car up, and now he's got something to prove today and expecting to make a big charge.
Yeah, and the team has been on him. Don't worry about it, AJ. You fix it, we'll mend it, and you'll go out and win the motor race. Let's have a look at the point standings coming into this weekend. Bourdais, of course, Sebastian Bourdais, a healthy lead. He won the first 4 races of the season. He's also added another couple of points to his tally this weekend. Quickest on Friday in the provisional qualifying, and he grasped the pole yesterday. AJ Allmendinger still just 25 points behind, and Justin Wilson right in the mix as well.
But look at that group behind Justin, guys, 4 through 10 separated by just 12 points. This is a situation where Paul Tracy stands 6th right now. He finished 2nd 2 weeks ago in Toronto. He was 11th before we started that race. One good finish, and now all of a sudden he's in 6th place.
And there's Nelson Philippe at the bottom end of the top 10. He's celebrating a birthday, not just this weekend, but today. So he's looking for a strong run this afternoon. It's going to be a tremendous motor race. We've had huge crowds on hand here all the way through the weekend, but this is just it's a wonderful racetrack. It's a city centre airport laid out on the runways and taxiways, and it's a very exciting place to go racing. There's several passing opportunities, but it's also a very fast track, Eric Mock.
Blindingly fast racetrack. I mean, that's guys that haven't seen this track before. The first thing they say when they get out of the cars after that first session is, "Wow, this track is unbelievably fast." Bruno Junqueira likened it to an oval, to the speed you carry through the corners here, not just in that turn 1, which is the fastest part of the racetrack at 170 miles an hour coming down that main straight, and then you're breaking into turn 1. But that whole complex in the back, 7, 8, 9, 10, those are fast corners, and corners where you could get in a lot of trouble very, very quickly.
And that turn 13, 14 chicane leading onto the front straight, a minimum of 145 miles an hour through there. It is really quick. But the man this weekend, as we've said so far, with the talking point coming into the weekend was AJ Allmendinger, but the man on the track who's done the business is Sebastian Bourdais. And for the 4th time this season, Sebastian Bourdais in the McDonald's car off Newman House Racing comes up with the Bridgestone Pole Award. A tremendous run by him yesterday in qualifying. Alongside him on the front row will be Paul Tracy. It's his first front row start of the season. It's been 15 races since he last won. Justin Wilson and AJ Allmendinger, former teammates, will start together on row 2.
Oriol Serbia 3 consecutive top 5 starting spots. Nelson Philippe starts 6th, matching a career high. Will Power was penalized for blocking at the end of yesterday's qualifying, drops back to 7th. Andrew Ranger, another top 10 starting spot, starting 8th.
On row 5 of the grid will be Bruno Junqueira. He was 3rd quickest on Friday, but crashed in the 2nd session of qualifying yesterday. Mario Dominguez, a great run for Dale Coyne Racing. Back on row 6 of the grid, Alex Tagliani, his worst starting position of the season, and Jan Halen had an electrical problem in the final session.
The rookie Charles Wolzman starts 13th. Cristiano D'Amata has been fast in every session except final qualifying, mired back in 14th. Catherine Legge takes from 15th. She won here last year in the Atlantics. Nikki Pastorelli starts 16th.
Yeah, after having 3 crashes so far this weekend. Dan Clark, he also crashed yesterday in final qualifying. He has a fast car and was quick this morning. Tony Skazimets, he's also had various incidents. Good to see Rocket Sports Racing back up to full strength this weekend with both cars there. But as I said, Pastorelli, he's been in the wars, and we're not actually sure whether he's going to be on the starting grid or not. I was told a slim chance by team manager Phil Howard. We have some great onboard shots for you today. Nelson Philippe, happy birthday Nelson, 20 years old he is today, and he has been absolutely a revelation the last 5 or 6 races since a great run in Houston where he held off Justin Wilson in the closing stages to finish a then career best 4th and a podium at Milwaukee as well. Justin Wilson's we've got various shots from the CDW car of the Roosport team. Justin Wilson, he of course had this race, he was in contention to win 1 year ago, also led the race for the Roosport team, but he spun during a late caution. Andrew Ranger, he will also bring us some good action. So plenty of onboard cameras, and you can see it's a beautiful, clear day. It's been hot this weekend, Eric, and it's been it's a very physical racetrack for the drivers.
And they've repaved a couple sections in this racetrack, so that's thrown another variable into it. There were a couple bumps last year that made this track pretty dicey. They've smoothed those out. Really, the only concern from a bump standpoint, there's still a little unsettling bump between that high-speed chicane where you can see the cars now, that 13-14, here in about 5 minutes, they're going to come flying through there at about 135 mile an hour. Any kind of bump at that speed is a concern. A bump right there before you make those turns definitely get your attention.
So lining up for the start here. Looks like the second of the Rocket Sports cars was there up and lining up. Here we go down into turn 1. A great start there by the pole sitter. I think that was, oh dear, there's an accident at the back. That was Cristiano D'Amata, I think, went into the wall. What a disaster for Cristiano. He had a dismal day yesterday in qualifying, and it's gone even worse now. Bruno Junqueira also involved.
Junqueira, he was 3rd in qualifying on Friday. Everything looked strong. It went wrong for him yesterday, and now spun dead stick in the middle of turn 1 here on the start. Another bad luck move for Junqueira. This kid has the worst luck of anybody in recent memory in Champ Car racing.
Yeah, didn't see there why he spun, but Cristiano D'Amata really kind of minding his own business, trying to go wide around the outside. Wrong place, wrong time, Eric.
Absolutely, and unfortunately he's going to have the rest of the day to sit here and think about it. We're getting the replay here. Let's see if we can see what happened. Bruno seemed to have the proper line there, and then just looked like he came up on the Team Australia car a little too quickly and had to get out of it, and that's the wrong place to have to get out of the throttle.
Yeah, still cold tyres, of course, coming out on this right away from the start. You try to get the tyres up to proper optimum pressures and temperatures on the pace laps, but it's difficult to do, and as you said, it looks like he dived up the inside there of one of the Team Australia cars of, I think it was Alex Tagliani, and he had to back out of the throttle. Once you back out of the throttle, the back end comes around, and he wasn't able to save it. The good news for him, though, is he has kept the light going on that car, and he has managed to rejoin, and I don't believe he's lost a lap, so that is certainly very good news for Bruno Junqueira.
Absolutely, not nearly as bad as it could have been, but just to go back to what we've been talking about, the bad luck that he's been having this year. The first 4 races, he qualified 4th or better for each of those races and never finished better than 10th in any of those 4 starts. And a guy with the Newman Haas Racing team that definitely has the speed, knows his way to victory lane, and just has had nothing but bad luck this year.
You're right. His average starting position coming into this weekend was 4.0, which was 4th in the overall ranking behind Sebastian Bourdais, AJ Allmendinger and Justin Wilson. But his average finishing position was 9.1, and that's the reason why he dropped back down in the standings. He was at the very bottom of the standings initially. He has worked his way back up inside the top 10, but that is certainly not the way he wanted to start this afternoon's race. Let's look at the race analysis. We're at the city centre airport here in Edmonton, just a couple of miles away from the downtown area. and 1.973 mile track, 3.175 kilometers. 85 laps we're expecting to go this afternoon, but it will be a 1 hour and 45 minute time limit on this motor race. 2 pit stops. As you can see, Sebastian Bourdais won this race from 10th last year. Sebastian Bourdais started from the 10th position 1 year ago. That is the same position that his teammate Bruno Junqueira started this afternoon's race. Actually, he started 9th, didn't he, Bruno? But still, he was confident of a good run, was Bruno, but it all went wrong there at the first corner. Now he's got an awful lot of work to do, starting from the back. But here we are, back to that scenario at the front. The best buddies are perhaps not Sebastian Bourdais and Paul Tracy. It was a clean start between those two, Eric.
Absolutely, and if you look through the top 8 starters, I mean, all of them, they took a number of different lines heading into one. Sebastian got a great start. Paul and AJ split up. One went way inside, but nobody was able to make any substantial gains. And the top 8 right now running exactly how they started, exactly how they took the green.
And most of the front runners did use a portion, at least, of their Cosworth power to pass on that opening sprint to the first corner. As usual, they have 60 seconds worth of power to pass. There's a button on the steering wheel. When they press that button, it increases the boost pressure on the turbocharged engines, gives about an extra 300 RPMs. And as in Toronto, the base horsepower of this Ford Cosworth engine is running at 725 horsepower as opposed to the previous 750. But when they get that overboost, it bumps it up not by 75 horsepower as in the past, but a full extra 75 horsepower, so up to 800 when they use that power to pass. And that, I believe, is probably what enabled Sebastian Bourdais to keep that advantage going to the front first corner. There is the Bruno Junqueira car, the hole in the wall gang's car, coming in for a quick splash of fuel, along with one of the Rocket Sports cars. I believe that was Tony's Kazimets.
Interesting there is they brought him in. He had done a half spin, but they brought him in. They fueled him. They didn't change the tires, so he must not have damaged the tires on that spin.
Very good point, and certainly that is good news for him. Once again, we see the red sidewall tires on virtually all of the cars at the start of the race. Bridgestone once again brought 2 compounds of tires. The red sidewall tires, slightly the softer tires, and the standard tires with the black sidewalls. And theoretically, at least, the red sidewall cars, the red striped tires should be a little bit quicker. So the teams have to use, was that Oriol Servia perhaps started, I think, there on the black sidewall tires. That's interesting. But the teams have to use at least one set of reds and blacks during the race today.
Absolutely, and talking to Al Spire at Bridgestone, the executive director of Bridgestone Motorsport yesterday, he didn't really get the improvement in the time between the soft compound and the hard compound that Bridgestone normally likes to see here. So that may play into the strategy, because you're not getting that extra 8 tenths, 9 tenths a second that those red walls usually will give you.
You're right. I was talking to Paige Mader, who is the chief development engineer for Bridgestone Firestone, and he was telling me the same sort of thing. But he thought they've got different compounds here, both red and black, from 1 year ago. But he thought they're being a little bit, maybe too conservative on the reds. But we'll see as the race unfolds. To racing here in Edmonton. The green flag comes out and Sebastian Bourdais leads the field again, cleanly down to turn 1 again. Single file this time out, no passing manoeuvres attempted there at all. Paul Tracy, I believe, was trying to use the power to pass, but he wasn't able to get close enough to Sebastian Bourdais to even think about making a move in turn 1.
He most definitely did. He got on the power to pass very early, coming out of 14, but made no gain on Sebastian at all. Like you said, Jeremy, a great start by the Flying Frenchman.
So Sebastian Bourdais leads from Paul Tracy, and there's a great jump that Sebastian Bourdais has got without using any of his Cosworth power to pass. You can see the advantage he has over this man, Paul Tracy. He's been under quite a bit of pressure the last few races since the arrival of AJ Allmendinger. Allmendinger, of course, he'd never won a race in the Champ Cars in a couple of years. He joined this team at Portland. He won at Portland. He's won 3 in a row coming in here, so the pressure very much on Paul Tracy, but he bounced back very strongly at Toronto, his hometown. He had a great run to second place there, actually had a better lap than AJ, and he's kind of settled into that position, and he's been strong all weekend.
Yes, and we have had the long
Absolutely.
walk
I maintain that
Christian
this
Zamana
race
back to the
means more
Roos
to Paul
engineering
Tracy
facility, as they call it. They're trying to get a quick word with him. He knows that he's going to talk to us, not the way that you wanted to have your 100th start. What happened?
Well, I was committed on the outside. Somebody spun, or I don't know who touched. think it was a white and red car. Couldn't see. I was being covered by other car a little bit, so started coming towards me and it was going to collect me. So I had to try to go around the outside, but there wasn't enough space. So ended up hitting the wall there. No, pretty disappointed.
Sorry you're out early. Thank you.
That was a quick clip there from Cristiano D'Amata, and here we see that was Nicky Pastorelli in the also Catherine Legg, so you can see the damage to the rear wing of her car. And Nicky Pastorelli, boy, he's had a dismal weekend. He's back after missing the race in Toronto, but he's just had, every morning he's crashed. He crashed on Friday morning, he crashed on Saturday morning, he crashed this morning in a warm-up as well. Let's see if we can see what happened between those two. There he goes. He just spun off and hit the wall, and Catherine, I presume they're kind of a sympathy spin. It looks like, I would presume, like you said earlier on with Bruno Junqueira at the first corner, there's Jan Heylen in the wall as well. But when you get off the throttle here, as you said earlier on, they're very fast corners here, and you have to commit yourself to those corners, and if you have to get off the throttle halfway through the turns, then 9 times out of 10 the back end's going to come around on you, and particularly in the early stages when they're really trying to get temperature in those tires.
The 4, 5, and 6 complex where we saw Pastorelli spin is an area very tricky, because not only are the turns a problem there, but that is an area where it's very easy to get dirt on the racetrack. Guys go off and they bring dirt and dust onto that track. Right here we see the Heylen crash, and he appears to have had a bit of a counter attempt with Mr. Clark there that resulted in bad things for Mr. Heylen.
That's a shame. Jan Heylen again does an excellent job this weekend in the Moorman's car for Dale Coyne Racing. He qualified just outside the top 10 in 12th place, but he's been right around the top 10 all weekend long, and this team is certainly the least budgeted team in the paddock. As we look there at the birthday boy Nelson Philippe, his 20th birthday today, but Heylen, he really does an excellent job. He's working very, very well with his race engineer Adam Schachter. Let's have a look again. There's Dan Clark poking his nose down the inside, and he gets kind of halfway there, but as you can see, he's not completed the pass, and Jan Heylen in that situation has to turn into the corner. He doesn't have any option. Wrong place, wrong time.
And the question is, this is under yellow. What are these guys doing here? The caution flag is out, and they're battling through turn 11 like they're fighting for the win.
That's a great shame for Jan. He's a super likable young man, and he's working very hard and really doing an excellent job. But as I said, there was a bit of a problem yesterday in qualifying. They had one of the wiring loom chafed through, and it cost him. Well, the car just stopped out on the track with a couple of minutes to go in final qualifying. But I say he's done a very, very fine job. He was really looking forward to this race on the other airfield circuit that we go to in Cleveland. Had a fabulous run there, finished 5th, despite the fact he had a spin and he stalled the car during the pit stops. And he really enjoys this racetrack, as does every driver. And that's a really disappointing way for him to. Maybe he'll get going again, but he's certainly out of contention, I believe, now.
The funny thing about Heylen is you talked to him after that race, congratulated him on top 5, and he was upset he wasn't on the podium. That way, a lengthy stop here for Catherine. They change all 4 tires. Now they go to the work on the rear wing there. And it looks like they may be missing a number on that back wing, as she carries the number 20 in the back wing there with the Bell Micro sponsorship on it. Seems to be missing a 2, so those of you at home, don't be spooked by the fact that Catherine may be driving the number 0 car for the rest of the day.
Yeah, she won't mind what kind of numbers she's in, as long as she's back out in the fray. She again was so disappointed yesterday in qualifying. She was in the top 6, I believe it was, yesterday morning. I think she was 6th fastest in the morning practice session, legitimately ahead of her teammate Oriol Servia, and then she qualified way back down the field. So still under caution here in Edmonton as our second caution of the day. We've already completed a half a dozen laps, so it's not been a good start to this motor race. But Sebastian Bourdais still out in front, Paul Tracy in second place, Justin Wilson third, AJ Allmendinger fourth. So the top 4 positions from the grid remaining, actually all the top positions all the way down the field pretty much staying as a constant apart from those that have had difficulties. So Oriol Servia rounds out the top 5, then the birthday boy Nelson Philippe, Will Power in 7th, and Will Power, he's been a story this weekend, Eric.
Absolutely, a very quick young man. Has definitely been one of the guys to look at. He's Roche Fran's Rookie of the Year points leader. He's been in the top 10 consistently, but he also had a fairly spectacular off on Friday coming through that high-speed chicane. He had lost it, came back across the track driver's right, and almost took out a global TV cameraman in one of the most spectacular crashes we've seen in a while. Slid into a bunker, and the cameraman there, a young man by the name of Sean Dunham, stood right there, held his ground, followed that car all the way into the bunker, and then
then leapt for safety
and
afterwards.
then leapt for safety.
A bit late he was on the escape
was.
route, but yeah, it was a spectacular crash. And, Team Australia, those boys have worked so hard all season long, of course, but particularly the last couple of races. 2 weeks ago in Toronto, you'll remember that Alex Tagliani had a big crash in the warm-up. They had to totally rebuild a car for him to take part in a race that afternoon. And once again, they came here this weekend, and they didn't really have a backup ready to go. So when there was some damage to the right side of the monocoque on Will Power's car, they had to bring out the car that had been crashed 2 weeks ago by Tagliani and repaired at the Mark I shops in Indianapolis. Again, it was just a bare tub. They built that up overnight, and Will Power qualified initially a brilliant 6th yesterday. Was then, as you said earlier on, Eric, docked a position because he was adjudged to have held up Justin Wilson on one lap in qualifying, but still a fine run by him and by that whole Team Australia group.
Catherine Legg in the PKV racing machine now getting off pit lane. The idea was to get that wing bolted on, get her out in front of the pack so she could stay on the lead lap and then come back in and finish up the repairs. Unfortunately, the damage a little too great for the team to be able to do that. Mark Johnson's squad decided discretion was the better part of valor there, kept her in, got her all bolted on. She did drop a lap, but she's back out on the race course.
We're still on the yellow here. 7 laps completed out of 85, and
just getting word now that Dan Clark is going to be penalized for the contact. We'll get the specifics on that here shortly.
I think there's only one race that Dan hasn't had contact with somebody in this season. I think that was maybe Portland. I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been one that he hasn't had contact with somebody during the course of the weekend. Of course, you'll remember that after the first 3 races of the season, he was placed on probation by the race director, Tony Cotman. Just too many incidents, he said, but that probation actually ended after the race in Cleveland, despite the fact he was involved in another contretemps there. He was also involved last week, 2 weeks ago in Toronto as well, and now yet another incident. At least it wasn't with Catherine this time.
Looks like a drive-through penalty for Dan Clark after we go green.
Beautifully sunny day. There goes the Ford GT pace car getting ready to go green this time around. Fabulous weather conditions this weekend, Eric. It's been record high temperatures here in Edmonton, Alberta.
Absolutely. I got a little break today. We saw the track temperatures a little earlier, 105, 110 in most spots, but the ambient temperature, the air temperatures let up a little bit today from what they were yesterday, and I'm sure the capacity crowd here at Jackflow Speedway appreciates that.
But it's still early days. It's still only 11 o'clock in the morning here. I think once we get past noon, halfway through the race, the temperatures are only going to rise, and it's going to be interesting to see how that alters the balance of these cars, because they are very susceptible to temperature changes and air density changes. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Here's another view again of Catherine Legg just losing control as she came around. She saw the spinning car of Nikki Pastorelli, got out of the throttle, and her car goes around the wall. She just tags the wall. She is, I believe, back in the fray, but she, as you said, Eric, she is 1 lap down, so that's going to be hard for her to make up on this race. But here we go, back to green flag conditions. There it goes, the green flag, and Paul Tracy under a little bit of pressure there at the restart from Justin Wilson. Just manages to hold that position.
Everybody on the power to pass except Justin Wilson among the top 6 there going into turn 1.
So if we look down the chart to see who has used their power to pass and who hasn't, we see that most of them have used about 10 seconds or so. Paul Tracy, however, used a full 18 seconds. So Paul Tracy has used more of his power to pass than anybody else.
Again, a very important race for Paul Tracy. The guy really needs a good performance here. Had a couple of bad luck incidents early in the year, a la Bruno Junqueira.
Looking there, the car of AJ Allmenning. We hear he's not feeling too good this morning. I haven't seen AJ myself this morning, but we hear he's feeling under the weather.
And one of the things he's battling, Derek, is he's feeling very poorly. He has flu-like symptoms and told me this morning, as badly as I feel, I don't think that I can make a race distance. Now, of course, Derek, as you know, once that adrenaline gets pumping, sometimes you feel a lot different, but there's no question AJ Allmendinger is playing hurt.
Thanks, John. And I must admit, I hadn't caught up on that one this morning, but he's not feeling good. It's tough, but when the adrenaline gets pumping, Eric, it overcomes all sorts of ailments that we've seen time and time again in the past.
Yeah, especially with the 24-year-olds, they tend to be able to mask those aches and pains a little easier than the veteran guys. So I was down at Forsyth Hospitality this morning, kind of doing a walkthrough, and he was talking about going to the medical center. As his chest was kind of bound up, and he said he was feeling a bit bad, and Jan followed up on that. And definitely sounds like it could be a long day for AJ, but he's hanging right in there in fourth spot, just 2.5 seconds behind the leader.
Mark has just served his drive-through penalty, rejoins in 14th place. Catherine Legg now in 15th, 1 lap off the ultimate pace as we're watching AJ Allmendinger in the Index car number 7. And he's had very much mixed emotions here at this racetrack. As we said earlier on, he had the race pretty much in the bag 1 year ago, driving for Rooseport. His first career pole here, led most of the race, his first ever fastest lap as well, but he wasn't able to convert it into a victory. Just with about 7 laps to go, he clobbered the wall over in turn 7, and that spelled retirement and an absolutely, he was so distraught after that race. And we saw it again yesterday. But Neil Mickeright, he's trying to get AJ on a more of an even keel. He's got a very competitive personality, and when things don't go his way, then he tends to get upset. And Neil Mickeright, the Vice President of Operations for the Forsyth Championship Racing Team, saying, AJ, look, don't worry about it. You just do your job, we'll do ours.
Looking out the back of Andrew Ranger's number 27 Tide Machine, and he's having to hold off a hard-charging Alex Tagliani in the battle for 8th. Tagliani got around Charles Wolzman here a couple laps ago and has moved up to 9th from his 11th place starting spot, and is now commanding most of Andrew Ranger's attention as they head into turn 9.
All of the drivers turning their best laps, the fastest laps so far in the race last time around, and the quickest of them all, Dan Clark, down in 14th place, trying to make up that lost ground as a result of the drive-through penalty. We've seen it time and time again this season. When he comes into the pits, and for whatever the reason, he gets out there and he gets on with the case. A 1 minute 1.654 for Dan Clark. That compares to our race leader's best, 1 minute 1.730. So a tenth of a second quicker than the race leader is Dan Clark.
We've made the references to the problems he's had this year and the incidents he's had. The reason he still has a job is because he can do this kind of thing. We've seen it at almost every track we've gone to, is he can put up 2 or 3 laps that are equal with anybody. It's just getting him reined in and putting those consistent laps together. That's what he needs to do, and that's what that CTE Racing HVM team is looking for him to do. He's shown he can do it in spurts. They just now need to get him to do it all the time. That's what they're hoping for. As we look now, Jan Halen still in the pits as the Dale Coyne Racing Team feverishly working on getting the Mermans Group car back in the fray. Pastorelli and D'Amato right now the only 2 retirements after 13 laps.
There's Andrew Ranger there, still running in 8th place ahead of Alex Tagliani. That battle there a little bit farther down the order. And there is Alex Tagliani, car number 15. He's not been on the pace this weekend. He's just been struggling. I'm not quite sure why. He certainly doesn't know why. The engineers are working so hard to try and give him this. Well, they're giving him the same equipment as Will Power, but for some reason, Will Power just feels more comfortable on this racetrack than does Alex Tagliani, which is even more strange considering the fact that Alex went very well here 1 year ago.
Sebastian Bourdais has led all 14 laps so far, has gone over 1,400 laps led in his short champ car career, and could end up going to 18th overall list.
Much differently. Paul Tracy uses his right foot on the brake, and AJ Allmendinger his left. And because of that, it comes really from a karting background, and the new school drivers all tend to use left foot braking. It takes a different setup on the car, but a very high-speed racetrack, Derek, you don't use a lot of heavy braking, so it's perfectly suited to Paul Tracy's style.
So there's John Beekers talking about the different driving styles between AJ Allmendinger and Paul Tracy. As he said there's the left foot braker. That's the modern way. You can brake the car down to the apex of the corner and still get on the throttle again, so you get the turbo spinning, get the car's momentum out of the corners. And different racetracks tend to suit different styles. And this is a very flowing racetrack, but you might think that's somewhat anomalous that the right foot style would be working as well as it does here. But for Paul Tracy, he's really got a handle on this racetrack, and he's been turning quick laps all weekend. He's had a couple of incidents, but he's been very, very fast, and generally this weekend has been quicker than his teammate AJ Allmendinger. Been joined in the booth kindly by Kevin Kalkoven, the president of the Champ Car World Series. Kevin, super to have you with us, and what a disappointment there for Catherine to be involved in that incident so early in the motor race.
Yeah, well, I guess it's just motor racing, but it's great fun up front watching Sebastian race so well. And Catherine, well, she's just got to qualify better so she stays out of that pack.
She was so disappointed yesterday. She did a fabulous job yesterday morning. She's been quick at most of the races. We saw before she had the problem 2 weeks ago in Toronto, she had the fastest lap of the race for a while. The speed is there.
Yeah, the speed is there. She just needs the consistency. It's all part of being a rookie and learning. As I said, it's not going to happen overnight. But she's proven with her speed that she can stay up with the big boys, and I think with a few more races under her belt, she'll do just fine.
I think it's remarkable what she's been able to achieve. I mean, last year when you brought her into the Atlantic Championship, that was her first full season of racing. She'd done 4 or 5 years of bits and pieces here and there, but it's experience is so important.
Yes, it is, and she's getting it. And as I said, she has these flashes of incredible speed, which shows that she can do it. She's just going to learn how to put it all together. But she's very, very determined and very, very fit. Her exercise program is 18,000 calories a week. When you consider a mile is 300 calories, you get some idea of the amount of physical effort that she puts into just being strong, and that's part of her determination.
Actually did herself a bit of damage with her training program earlier this week. She fell off her bike. She got some nasty street rashes to prove it, but Catherine Legg, she's making strides in this series. Joined by Kevin Kalkoven, the president of the Champ Car World Series. And Kevin, big news this week. We've heard that the Korean event will not happen this year, but the great news for Champ Car World Series, we will open the championship next year with a brand new street event in Las Vegas.
Yeah, isn't that absolutely incredible? It was a unanimous vote by the council. It's going to be a great racetrack. It's going to be a fantastic season opener, followed by Long Beach, and of course it's the world's #1 destination resort, so I'm sure a lot of people will come both for the racing and for the other activities that go on there.
Other activities, yes, very well put. There's lots of other activity to be had in Las Vegas, and I think it's a great way to start the season. Long Beach will be just one weekend later, and what a great holiday we can make out of that. We go to Las Vegas for all the everything that goes on there, and then to the beach cities in Long Beach just 1 week later. Great way to holiday, I would say, and start off our championship.
Yes, it will be, and the events themselves are, Long Beach of course is always spectacular, and racing on the streets of Las Vegas up at the north end is going to be wild. There's even an underpass that cars have to go through, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it.
It's a fast track and a wide open track as well. It sounds like a great venue.
It will be. It'll be a great venue, and of course it'll be the opening race for our new Champ Car, which will be unveiled in San Jose later this week.
That's right. Everybody is so excited about that. You've monitored the progress of the build of that car, and what can you tell us going in before a sneak preview before next weekend when we see it in San Jose?
Well, it's lighter, it's slightly smaller, it'll be much faster, it'll be really a car that is designed with the kind of races that we have in mind, and it will be physically very demanding still, because we're not going to allow things like traction control. There'll be a semi-automatic paddle shift, but it's still going to be a driver's series and a driver's car. That's what really makes this series so interesting, is that you can't hide behind electronics. Those little electrons aren't going to do you any good at all. It's got to be your right foot and your hand.
A great fuss, and your brain power as well, and how the teams work together with their drivers. Here's a look now. We're on board with Justin Wilson, looking back at the 4th place car of AJ Allmendinger. There is AJ as he goes through turn 10 to complete. We're on the 20th lap of this 85 lap motor race, so still a long way to go. Expecting the first pit stops around about lap 31. We've had several laps of caution, so it'll probably be lap 35 or so before they come onto pit lane. Kevin, I know you're a busy man. We're going to let you get back to watch Oriel Servi, who's still running a very fine 5th in the early stage of this race, and a long way to go.
Yeah, and this is a race where, particularly towards the end of it, the physical demands of the racetrack cause drivers to make mistakes. So I think Oriel is again very fit. and it'll be interesting to see. I saw AJ actually just before the race go to the washroom. He wasn't looking great. He was just really looking pretty sick and was sort of complaining that he didn't even think he might finish the race. He was feeling so bad, so it'll be interesting to see.
Certainly, well, it's so hot here as well. I mean, this is a very physically demanding racetrack, and you need to be at peak fitness for this event.
Yeah, I was talking to Bruno Junqueira yesterday, and he said it's the hardest racetrack he's ever raced on. You've got to be absolutely accurate with the lines. There's no room to make a mistake. And it's physically very, very demanding. And of course, couple that with these temperatures. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the last half of the race.
AJ, we're hearing, did actually go along to the medical centre. He was on an IV drip for a while there from Dr. Chris Bendersky. So they're doing everything they can to hydrate him and just give him the best possible chance to be able to finish this motor race. But he's certainly going to have his work cut out for him.
The heat might be the least of the worries for the field now, as Sebastian Bourdais has really turned up the wick. These last 4 laps have all been in the 60-second range. Nobody else has managed to pull off 2 of those back-to-back at any time this afternoon. He's now opened up his gap to almost 4 seconds over second-place Paul Tracy.
He is just flying at the front of the field, but we've got a good battle, certainly for second, third and fourth places, and they're right stacked up, it seems, now behind Dan Clark. There is Paul Tracy in second place, and Dan Clark just ahead of him. Dan's, as we said earlier on, he's been quick pretty much all weekend long, so he won't want to give up any more positions than he needs to, and we're going to watch out and see if we can see any blue flags being waved. If the blue flags are waved, then he will be obliged to let the leaders go. But at this stage, he seems to be running pretty much the same pace as Paul Tracy, Justin Wilson and AJ Allmendinger, who's in fourth place, but actually dropped back a bit in the last couple of laps. Last time around, AJ actually did a 1-minute 3 laps, so he lost about 1.5 seconds in the last time around. I didn't see what happened.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to work out well for their strategies. Now you see Tracy and Wilson both getting around Clark. But Wilson right up on the rear wing of Paul Tracy now. It seems like the Brit has had enough of sitting back and saving fuel. One of the most aggressive guys you're going to see in a race car, and it looks like he's had enough of sitting back, trying to gain it or close in on Tracy. Most importantly, as they head down to pit lane to those last fuel stops, so we expect they're probably the next time by they'll be going into pit lane and putting on the new Bridgestone Potenzas, getting back out there.
Justin Wilson, he's had a pretty good season, certainly by most standards. He's had 6 top 5 finishes out of the 7 races. The only event that he didn't score well in was in Cleveland, of course, where he had a suspension failure in the late stages. But other than that, he's been quick everywhere. He's had, 4 second-place finishes. Stands now 3rd in the championship as a result of Allmendinger's 3 wins in a row. But Justin Wilson certainly very much in the championship mix. But they're all going to catch this man, the McDonald's car of Newman Haas Racing, and Sebastian Bourdais. He's just making hay while the sun shines here in the prairie land in Edmonton, Alberta, pulling away with every lap.
Nelson Philippe, Andrew Ranger go 1 lap earlier, the first of the leaders to pit. Both of them get good service from their crews and get back underway. AJ Allmendinger just ran his fastest lap of the race, so he can't be feeling that bad. He just turned a 60.6.
Yeah, he's not very consistent though. As we saw last time around, a couple of laps ago, was a 62-second lap, so he seems to be struggling. Jon Beeker's in the pit lane.
And of course, this should be a great stop for Sebastian Bourdais, the fact that he's leading, but it's not good that he has to stop in front of the other leaders. You want to stop as late as you possibly can, and you can see it took a lot of fuel, just over 10 seconds, a routine stop. He went with sticker tires, and now we have a new leader on the racetrack, and this, Derek, is when you really have to push. If someone pits before you, you stand on it and make some ground.
So there is a new race leader, Paul Tracy. He will gain, of course, a bonus championship point for leading this race. Last time around, he turned his best lap of the race, a 60.534. Can he really turn up the wick now? And maybe if he can stretch his fuel even 1 more lap, maybe that would play into his advantage, as Eric was saying a little while ago. We have no tyre warmers, of course, in the Champ Car World Series, so when you come out of the pits on a full tank of fuel and cold tyres, it's very difficult to turn to quick laps right away. But there is PT. He is going to do 1 more lap, and this, even though he had a big deficit, it was 8 seconds. I think that was going to be too much to overcome, even though he stops at least 2 laps later. But he's certainly giving it his all now, Eric.
As we predicted, he and Justin both, they stayed out a couple extra laps and are taking advantage of those. Both of them running their fastest laps. 60.4 laps. Looks like Catherine Legg has had another problem. She has lost her rear wing Again, can't tell quite where on the track where she was. It looked like turn 7 and 8. She seems to be back underway, but she's going to have to go back in and get another rear wing. Amazingly, these are the first laps that Paul Tracy has led all season long.
You're right, he's the sixth all-time lap leader in the Champ Car World Series, but you're right, he led all bar a couple of races last year, only 2 races in the whole season he didn't lead one stage or another last year, but this year, not been the same story. But there is Catherine. She won this race, of course, in the Atlantic Series last year, absolutely brilliantly, passing in the late stages Charles Waltzman. But this weekend, nothing going right for her. But now here we see the pit stops for the race leader, Paul Tracy, and Justin Wilson in second place. And we're going to go down to the pit lane one more time. This is in AJ Allmendinger's pit, waiting for him to come in on the lollipop.
And at the meantime, Paul Tracy is ahead of him, getting the service. The tires are already done. They're just waiting on the fuel. The same thing with AJ Allmendinger. Paul Tracy, and Justin Wilson beats him out. Awesome. Justin Wilson must have short filled, beat him out. AJ Allmendinger now underway.
Very interesting strategy there. Well, Tracy runs a bit wide coming out of the pit lane, clips a cone there, and we were told by Tony Cotton, if you clip a cone under any circumstances, there may well be a penalty. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I think that cone really wasn't part of the race. Let's have a look again at the replays. You can see Paul Tracy is in the pit, then Allmendinger behind him and Justin Wilson behind that. A very fast stop by the Rousport team of Justin Wilson gets him out in the fray, not only ahead of Paul Tracy, but did he come out of Sebastian ahead of Bourdais as well? We shall have to wait and see. There again goes PT, but the CDW car of Justin Wilson out ahead of him, and we've got fairly wide pit windows here for the team, so we saw the opportunity to pit. They came in on lap 36. They can go to lap 72, therefore on their next pit stop around about lap 70 if there's no yellows, and that will leave them only a 15 lap run to the end of the motorway, so they can come in anywhere between 15 laps from now and 35 laps from now and be able to get to the end of this motorway. So a very interesting strategy there by the Rousport team. Get their man out certainly ahead of Paul Tracy and see if he can make any inroads into the lead of Sebastian Bourdais. And we see that Bourdais did get out comfortably ahead of both Wilson and Paul Tracy, but certainly a great strategy I think by Rousport, and we'll now see how fast that CDW car of Justin Wilson is. Can he reel in our race leader Sebastian Bourdais? We've now got 38 laps in the books, 47 to go here at the Jagflow Speedway at the City Centre Airport in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Round 8 of the Champ Car World Series. Sebastian Bourdais well out in front, and this is the man now in second place. Interesting strategy by the Rousport team. Short fueled that car, got him out ahead of Paul Tracy, and already Eric Mock, Justin Wilson is pulling away from PT.
Not only is he pulling away from PT, but on that lap, he gained a full second on Sebastian Bourdais.
Interesting to see the tyre strategy as well. There's some smoke coming there out of the rear of car number 7. That was AJ Allmendinger. Certainly a puff of smoke out of the rear end of that car. We'll have to keep an eye open on that. Look at the tyres now. Sebastian Bourdais is out on the black sidewall tyres. Paul Tracy also switched to the blacks. Justin Wilson, I think, might have gone out on reds. Did you notice that?
I didn't get a good look at it, unfortunately. I know that Paul has been happier with his car on the reds than he has been all year. He said that the big difference between the reds and the blacks that we normally have has upset the balance on his car. And since, as we alluded to earlier, the difference between those two compounds is not as great here, it doesn't affect his car as adversely as it has in the past. So it's a little better for him this weekend on the reds than it has been. We saw a nice battle right there. Probably the closest battle on the racetrack right now is the 1 for 6 between the rookie Will Power, who's in front, and Nelson Philippe, the birthday boy, in the black number 4, who's giving him all he wants for that 6th spot.
It was interesting this weekend. You've said that often this year when drivers bolt on the red tyres, the red stripe tyres, the red sidewall tyres, the softer tyres from Bridgestone, that it does tend to alter the handling balance of the car. But interesting this weekend when the guys bolting on the reds, they might not be that much faster, but most of them have been telling me that the car actually handles a little bit better than it does on the black. So an interesting trade-off there. There might be a slightly softer tyre, but it gives a better handling balance, but the blacks is still a pretty good tyre here as well. So we'll certainly keep an eye on that and see how those strategies play out. And we'll watch back to this battle here Oil Servia is running in 5th place. This is farther back, and Justin Wilson has worked his way past that lapped car of Charles Waltzman. He's lost a couple of positions in that pit stop exchange. He comes out in 12th place behind both Dan Clark and Bruno Junqueira, who of course were running that ultimate strategy.
Wilson that time had to get on the push to pass on that long straight before turn 9 to get around Zwolsman, the lap car of Zwolsman, and Justin is already used half of his bank of the Cosworth power to pass as the race approaches its halfway point.
That's right, so there is our race leader, the Newman Haas racing car of Sebastian Bourdais, and he's now in Tracy Wearing has spun in turn 14. Turn 14 is a quick chicane leading onto the front straightaway. That's a heck of a place to spin. We saw that that was where Will Power went off in practice on Friday, and he speared off in that corner and hit a marshal's post or a camera point out there heavily into the tire barrier protecting that cameraman. And yesterday Dan Clark went off in the same place and clobbered the wall pretty hard, and the CTE racing team had a lot of work to do to get that car back together again. We're hearing that PT did clip the wall, but that he was able to keep on going, so again we'll keep an eye on that.
He lost 2 spots in doing so, though. But if that's the least of his problems and having a problem coming through 13 or 14, he ought to be considered a lucky young man. Allmendinger has now moved up to 3rd, Servia in 4th. Tracy has now dropped back to 5th. But as you said before, if he got through there and spun and kept it going, that's something he could be proud of. He is still 10 seconds ahead of the 6th place Will Power in the aforementioned Power Philippe battle going on for 6. So he's in a pretty comfortable spot right now, but now he's got a couple spots to make up.
On lap 50 here in Edmonton, so 36 laps to go. We're certainly within the window now, I believe, to be able to get to the end of the motor race on one more pit stop. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this pans out. You can see the gap between the first 2 cars. It's less than it has been this entire motor race. Bourdais clearly struggling, or we hear is struggling with the handling balance of that car. He's actually the last couple of laps have been a bit better as the fuel load is burning down a little bit. He's now down into the middle 60-second range. 1 minute 0.679 last time around. Actually a couple of tenths a lap quicker, or a couple of tenths quicker than the same lap by Justin Wilson. So less than a second between the cars. You can see the gap right there as they come through 10 one more time.
A.J. Allmendinger posted 3 consecutive 60-second laps now. He actually made up ground on the leaders as they picked their way through that traffic. But now with the leaders back in clear track again, we'll see just how long it is before they start widening that gap again.
Made quite a bit of ground. Wasn't that gap almost 18 seconds?
Almost 18 seconds, and now closed down to 11 for the young American, seeking his 4th consecutive win. He would be the first American-born driver in 14 seasons to hang 4 consecutive wins on the board if he can pull it off today.
And so, of course, was Al Unser Jr. for the Penske squad way back when, 2 years ago, 1982. But this man here, he's tried to win 5 in a row this year. He won the first 4 races of the season. He's really struggling through that turn there, isn't he, Sebastian Bourdais? But Justin Wilson not able to make much inroads either. He's caught up with him, but making the pass is looking increasingly difficult for Justin Wilson. And I think we can probably expect him onto pit lane, I'd say within the next 5 or 10 laps, certainly. And Sebastian Bourdais will be able to go a good bit further than that before he needs to bring that car number 1 onto pit lane.
He's paying right now for his sins earlier in the race, as Justin has 30 less seconds of push to pass than Sebastian does. And they're in a situation right now where he could use that and maybe make a run at Sebastian, but facing that kind of a gulf between him and Sebastian, he needs to be judicious on it, and now he has to keep off that power to pass and just be content to ride there for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Justin, if he's going to win the race, he needs to be aggressive, and he's either going to go for the pass or come into the pits and get that full tank of fuel and then see what he can do from there. But of course, if he does that, he's going to lose track position. So it's a difficult call now for the Roux Sport team. If you come in now, you risk falling back into a pack of other cars. So you generally lose around about 30 seconds when you come in and make a full fuel stop on this racetrack, given the length of the pit lane. If he were to lose 30 seconds, he would come out onto the racetrack probably behind Oriol Servia and Paul Tracy. And PT is certainly something you do not want to get stuck behind, particularly if you feel you have a faster car, because Paul is not, let's say, not the easiest guy to get around.
The leader's now coming up on the car of Andrew Ranger. Ranger's running in 8th right now. Has run a clean race, as he has done all year, and that's why this kid is tied for 4th in the points after 7 events, but now fighting to stay on the lead lap. The last car on the lead lap, 8 of the 18 cars, 8 of the 15 cars still running, are still on that lead lap after 53 of 85 times around this racetrack.
Indeed, you can see that is the gap between the first 2 cars, Sebastian Bourdais and Justin Wilson. AJ Allmendinger now 12 seconds back in 3rd place. Then the gap of 11 seconds to Oriol Servia, running very well for PKV Racing in 4th. And about 3 seconds back to Paul Tracy after that spin we saw, or we didn't see a little while ago. And then behind Paul Tracy, about 15 seconds farther back, is the first of the Team Australia cars. That would be Will Power, far and away the best place of the rookies this afternoon. Nelson Philippe still right behind him in 7th place. Then a gap back to Andrew Ranger. And as you said, Eric, all the other guys 1 lap down, led by Alex Tagliani and Bruno Junqueira.
We didn't see it, but we've had a pass for the lead. Justin Wilson got on that power to pass coming down that long backstretch heading into turn 9 and got around Sebastian. Sebastian did get on the power to pass, but got on it a bit too late. Justin has gotten around him and has taken the lead of this motor race.
So there he is. He has made that aggressive move. We thought he had. That's what he had to do. If he was going to make a challenge for this race, he had to get past him. That's exactly what he has done. So we have our 3rd different race leader of the afternoon. Justin Wilson leads the motor race, and that is exactly what he needs to do. As we said earlier on, he's had a very good season, Justin, but he's only led 3 races. Here's a replay now. You can see he's on the power to pass button. He moves to the inside going into turn 10, and a clean pass down the inside. Great move there by Justin Wilson. He got a good run out of turn 9, the right-hander onto the back straightaway. He reached about 170 miles an hour down that back straightaway, and he's made the pass. Now, can he pull away? And apparently Kenny's already got a back marker. That is Andrew Ranger now, who has gone 1 lap down, so only 7 cars left on the lead lap, and Justin Wilson is flying. Sebastian Bourdais still trying to get past Ranger, and there he does down into turn 1.
There's another look at the pass here. Justin Wilson got a nice run out of 8. And as you said, staying on the power to pass. You can see the flashing light at the back of Bourdais' car as he tries to play defense, but that ship had already sailed, and Wilson got the run on him, and it was off.
Indeed, the ship had sailed, and last time around, Justin Wilson turns a 1 minute point 635. Cameron Steele is on the pit lane.
I was just talking to Derek Walker, Alex Tagliani coming in, going for a different strategy. They are going to be hoping for a yellow flag. Derek says, you know what, we may as well go for it.
So there is one of the Team Australia cars. He's already gone a lap down, so really nothing to lose at that stage. He comes onto pit lane, and he has made his final pit stop of the afternoon, as has Bruno Junqueira, who has, we hear, stalled the engine on his car. So Bruno's day going from bad to worse. In the meantime, the CDW car of the Roosevelt, there is Bruno Junqueira's smoky car being pulled back into the pits. Doesn't appear to be any sign of urgency either.
No, this definitely spells bad things for the Brazilian, who has fought so hard to come back from that devastating injury he had a year ago, and as we alluded to earlier, has qualified so well, has been fast, and just hasn't had a scrap of luck all year long.
Yeah, he hasn't, and we're going to follow Justin Wilson around, who is in the lead of the motor race. He's coming through turn 9. It's on this next straightaway that he made the pass on our race, the previous race leader, Sebastian Bourdais, a couple of laps ago. And last time around, Justin's lap was a 1 minute point 475. And I think a couple of guys going quickly. AJ Allmendinger does a 1 minute point 231. That's within a tenth of a second of the fastest lap of the race, still set by Sebastian Bourdais. And the track record here last year, the fastest lap of the race set by AJ Allmendinger to 59.9. So They're getting within a couple of tenths or so of the race lap record with still 28 laps to go, and the CDW car number 9 of Justin Wilson out in front and pulling out a 3-second lead now over Sebastian Bourdais.
60.15 last time by for Justin Wilson, absolutely flying. But AJ Allmendinger keeping pace at 60.1. He's still just 10 seconds behind Justin, but is faster than everybody else on the racetrack right now.
Bruno Junqueira, we hear, broke the gearbox as he was attempting to leave the pit lane. Down to Cameron Steele.
Well, unfortunately, you can see Bruno Junqueira getting out of his car right now. The problem is a gearbox. He had come into the pits knowing that he didn't have first gear. The team tried to get into neutral, and they get it push started in second. Unfortunately, they weren't even able to find second gear, so the gearbox is a problem. We'll try to catch a word with him in just a few.
So what a shame for Bruno Junqueira. As you were saying, Eric Mock, he's had very little go right for him this season. And we see Justin Wilson, he's had an up and down year, he's had some great results, but hasn't had that hoped for victory yet for the Rouge Sport team. Last year, it was looking just wonderful for the Rouge Sport team. They were running 1-2 for most of the weekend. Allmendinger was on the pole, led most of the race. Justin Wilson running second. It was a late caution. Justin lost it under the caution period. How embarrassing was that? He threw away his chance to win the race, which would have been given to him just a few laps later when Allmendinger crashed with after the race had gone back to green. But now Justin is making some moves, and he is really turning a string of quick laps, and now of course he's having to work his way through some slower traffic.
Absolutely, and a lot of people talked, the storyline coming in here was about AJ's problems last year and how he may have given one away in a sport that you can't really afford to give away a lot of victories. But Justin Wilson, his error may have been equally egregious as spinning under that cold tires when he was in a great situation is something that was definitely on his mind, even though the rest of the media may not have been talking about it.
So there we are watching the CDW car. There he is, Justin Wilson, who's on lap 60 right now, so 26 laps to go. And again, once he's free of the traffic, down into the low 1 minute range, 60.497 last time. And AJ Allmendinger, I should mention, has just set the fastest lap of the race so far. So right now that bonus point would go AJ's way. He's on a 60.122. That compares to Justin's best 60.150 and 60.173. So the top three guys all within the same tenth of a second on this 2-mile racetrack. Sebastian Bourdais, wow, look at that. He responds a 59.614. So not only did he take the lead, he retakes the bonus point for fastest lap of the race. That's really getting down to the nitty-gritty here. We're turning some very fast laps as we get down to the closing stages of this race. 23 laps to go.
Servia and Ranger on pit lane for their stops, both of them without incident. Sebastian Bourdais, we alluded earlier in the show, AJ had gotten to within 23 points of him. Sebastian could easily right now come out of here, the way things look, with the maximum points available over a race weekend. 35 points is the maximum you can take away from a Champ Car event. Sebastian is right now on pace to take all 35 of those, getting a point for each qualifying session, a point for leading the lap, 31 for winning the race, and then a point for the fastest lap, as Nelson Philippe makes what could be his final pit stop after continually dueling with Will Power throughout the second stint.
So look at Bourdais there clipping those curbs in turn 2 and 3, that right-left section of the racetrack, a very fast part of the track. But here he's held up there behind one of the Team Australia cars, and again lose a lot of time. And in fact, not only did he lose a lot of time, he's almost into the wall. That is Alex Tagliani, who has nosed into the wall. You can see the damage to the front wing of that car. That would have cost Bourdais a lot of time, and that could be crucial. He tried to muscle his way down the inside, and it nearly all went wrong. Let's have another look at it, Eric.
Well, it definitely looked like there was contact on the right rear as the two came by, so now Bourdais got to be worried about a puncture of some sort.
Yeah, you could see the car jump there, couldn't you, as he turned into the corner. There's that errant wing that's already been lost. That was one of Catherine's wings, one of her 2 wings earlier. This is another vantage point. You can see him diving down the inside, and there certainly is some contact there as he turns into the corner. And he will have been told, he probably saw, I'm sure, Justin Wilson pull onto the pit lane, so he knows he's got to turn some quick laps to get into pit lane. But is there going to be a full course caution? John Beekes.
AJ is in as well. We see from behind that was a quick stop for AJ. No changes there also. It's pretty much stationed between the two of them. Now they're waving down Paul Tracy, who's on his way as well. He's going to slide into his spot. Remember, he did not like the right rear. He said a tire was going down. They checked the telemetry and the tire wasn't going down. It just felt like to Paul Tracy it was going down. Now they'll replace it. Wow, that was a quick one. And Paul Tracy's back underway.
That's very interesting. We've still, Tagliani's car, we believe, is still in the tyre wall, and Tony Cotton, the race director, elected not to go to a full course caution. So that if it had gone full course caution, that would have played right into the hands of Justin Wilson. But there is no full course caution, so therefore the pits were not closed. And now we see the full course caution. Well, that's going to be a pretty controversial call, because clearly there, Tony Cotman decided to allow the other race leaders to make their calls and make their pit stops before he closed the pits. Interesting call by him. Certainly the Rooseport teams would be clamouring for the yellow flags to come out, but Tony Cotman said he's been consistent all the way along. He said he doesn't want to ruin anybody's race. That's why he would have told the teams under that situation, we're going to go full course caution, now is your time to come in and make your final pit stops. That is what they have done. So the pace car is out one more time. We're under full course caution, 20 laps to go here in Edmonton, and it looks so we haven't actually seen where the cars are coming out on the racetrack in relative to one another after they've just made their pit stops. Here's a replay though of that incident between the race leader Sebastian Bourdais and Alex Tagliani. Tagliani noses into the tyre barrier and Bourdais just keeps the McDonald's car out of the tyres, but that was a very, very scary moment indeed for Sebastian Bourdais. And here it is one more time from a different vantage point, and boy, that was a pretty scary moment for the race leader.
Well, it couldn't have come, interestingly, not that there's a good time for these things, but for Bourdais, and that slight contact, we've seen it a number of times where that contact, especially in that region with another car, can cut those tires down. But it just so happened that on the next lap by, Sebastian was going to pit, therefore it really never came a factor. More interestingly was, I wonder how long that rear wing had been sitting there at the exit of turn 7. I mean, that's a fairly big piece to be sitting there by a tire barrier.
And finally we get a glance here at the order on the racetrack. Here we're on board with the Rooseport car, and there you can see behind him is the McDonald's car of Sebastian Bourdais. So there's a good series of laps after that pit stop by Justin Wilson. Great strategy by Rooseport, and now it's Justin in the lead of the motor race after Bourdais brings his car onto pit lane. Allmending in third, less than 20 laps to go, and all to play for here in Edmonton. So there is Justin Wilson, and it's less than 20 laps to go here in Edmonton. We're under full course caution, and you can see the skyline there in the background. Justin Wilson leads the motor race over Sebastian Bourdais, AJ Allmendinger, Oriol Servia, Paul Tracy, Will Power and Nelson Philippe round out the top 7. Those are the only cars on the lead lap. Andrew Ranger is in 8th, along with Mario Dominguez and Dan Clark, also 1 lap down. Charles Waltzman is 2 laps off the pace, and we hear he too, like AJ Allmendinger, not feeling up to par this afternoon, but he is sticking out. There is Charles trying to get another, it would be his 3rd top 10 finish, and the rookie in the Champ Car World Series this year, driving for the MyJack Conquest Racing team. And the only guys still running behind that are Tony Skazimets and Alex Tagliani, who we believe is just making his way onto pit lane to put a new nose cone on that Team Australia car.
AJ Allmendinger, we're about to find out just how much he's got left in his physical tank. We talked all day about how he was taking IV fluids, how he hasn't felt well. That second stint, he really ran hard, put up incredible laps, made big gains, and now he's sitting right behind Sebastian, right behind Justin. He's already shown he's got a quick car. He's got plenty of power to pass. Interestingly enough, Justin Wilson just 10 seconds left in his tank of power to pass. Bourdais and Allmendinger each more than 45 seconds left. So it'll be interesting to see how they attack and when Justin decides to use his for defense, because right now that's pretty much all he could do with it is play defense a couple of times and try and blunt the charges of Bourdais and Allmendinger, especially at the end of these high-speed straights, of which we have 3 of them on this racetrack.
So we're under yellow here again, on board with the birthday boy Nelson Philippe, rounding out those cars on the lead lap in 7th place. And Here for the West Edmonton Mole, presented by the Brick Champ Car Grand Prix of Edmonton. Round 8 of the Champ Car World Series, and underscoring the world. Today's race has been broadcast to over 170 countries around the globe. Great to have you with us. There is Nelson here. Happy birthday, Nelson. He's done a super job the last handful of races. He's been very much a contender. Unfortunately for him, he's been stuck behind Will Power for most of the afternoon. Possibly has a faster car, but hasn't been able to make the pass, Eric Knott.
Well, those guys have been battling. We mentioned it 25 laps ago, and those two haven't been separated by more than a half second the entire second stint. Will Power running 6th right now, in line for his best finish of his Champ Car career, and this would really put him in the driver's seat in the Ross Trans Rookie of the Year standings. But Nelson Philippe is right there, definitely knows how to get around a race car and get through some traffic, so it'll be real interesting to see how that battle stacks up when we drop the green.
So we're hearing some shuffling of the order to be going on here under this caution. Not quite sure why, but we are hearing that it certainly doesn't affect the race leaders, and Justin Wilson is still out in the lead of the motor race over Sebastian Bourdais, so that strategy did pay off. Justin able to get into the pit stop earlier than Sebastian Bourdais, and I presume the incident that Bourdais had with Alex Tagliani cost him just enough time that he wasn't able to get round into the pit lane before losing the lead. We've on board here with Nelson Philippe, and look at a look at the youngest drivers ever to win a Champ Car race. The record currently stands with Scott Dixon. The young Kiwi won at Nazareth in 2001 at 20 years, 9 months.
We'll find out if it's the tires of choice. You've gone to the reds. You were just on the radio with Sebastian saying that Justin had blacks, you have reds. Is that how you want it?
Well, I mean, we've only got one data point here, but we put on the blacks for the middle stint, and the car was much worse than it had been on the first stint. The car was really good the first stint, and then it was slow and clearly out of balance. You had to move the anti-roll bar, and I don't know exactly what happened. I didn't think there was that big a difference between the black and the reds. Through practice, we've been very happy with the blacks. We were happy to run them the rest of the race, but then that happened. So my second set of reds have quite a few laps on them, but from what just happened, I think I'm happier being on them than the others.
All right, even with reds with laps on them, they're confident at Newman Haas. Let's get to Cameron Steele.
I'm here with Michael Cannon, the engineer for AJ Allmendinger, and the question really is, how is AJ feeling in the car? We've been talking about him being sick. Is he game for this at the end?
I think so. He seems to have regained his health now that he knows he's going to be on the podium, and he's healthy enough to be sarcastic, a little bit snarky. So I think he's okay.
Sounds like the old AJ coming right back out after 3 wins. And speaking of those 3 wins, if you look just across there, you can see the lucky hat that Phil LePan is wearing. He's been wearing that hat in every single one of AJ's win. And just of note, it is a Mario Dominguez hat of the former Forsyth team racer.
Phil LePan is the team manager at Forsyth Championship Racing. He is a Canadian by birth. He's been in this series a long, long time, brings a lot of experience to that Forsyth Championship Racing team. And there is AJ Allmendinger. And again, once the adrenaline gets flowing, who knows what can happen. And we saw 1 year ago at this motor race, we had the same 3 drivers in the top 3 positions, albeit then in a different order. But now we've got Justin Wilson still driving for Rousport, leading the motor race. Sebastian Bourdais still for Newman Haas in second place, and AJ Allmendinger, formerly with Rousport, now with Forsyth, rounding out the top 3. And this is going to be a dogfight in the remaining, we've got 17 laps to go. We're expecting to go green again, maybe this time around, Eric.
Should be very interesting. Just looking at some of the race stats, Sebastian has led 55 laps on the day, 55 of 68, bumping him up to 1,445 on his career. He is 20th all time. Alex Zanardi just 2 laps away in 19th. So if Sebastian gets around Justin, he can continue on the Champ Car history lists.
We are on board with the CDW car number 9 of Rousport, and Justin Wilson. Brilliant strategy, great driving, has got this car in the lead. And this was the race that got away from the Rousport team 1 year ago. They do not want the same to happen this time. Now look at the power to pass still left. Justin Wilson only has 10 seconds worth left in this race. Sebastian Bourdais, who's already on the push to pass, coming through the final couple of corners as we come back to green. But is he close enough to make a pass? No, he's not, and he gets off the power to pass as soon as he can. But he used about 5 or 6 seconds worth. We're down for 4th place in Oriel Servia, under pressure there from Paul Tracy. So down the back in the pit, we see some more scrambling down in turn 1.
Tracy went wide outside and looked like he was going to make a move on Serbia there heading into turn 1. thought better about it, but what he did is it looked like he hooked underneath him like an old Dale Earnhardt move, as it appears he has gotten Servia and slipped into that 4th spot.
I think you're right. So Paul Tracy had that spin earlier in the motor race, now up into the top 4 again, having gotten past Oriol Servia. So now we've got the Rousport car of Justin Wilson in the lead, the Newman Haas Racing car of Sebastian Bourdais in second, and then the 2 Forsyth Championship Racing cars of AJ Allmendinger and Paul Tracy. And we're going back to yellow one more time. It is Nelson Philippe who's found himself in the wall.
And it appears he had finally gotten around Will Power, the first time he'd been able to actually get around the Australian rookie, and that appeared to have lasted about half a lap for the Frenchman.
Oh boy, what a shame for Nelson. He's just been super the last half a dozen races or so, and here's a replay. Look at a huge sideways slide. Wow, it's pretty slippery out there. He just got on the marbles there, didn't he? Trying to get around. I think that was probably Oriol actually was struggling out on the marbles there, pushed offline by Paul Tracy, and there was Nelson Philippe trying to take advantage, but that track, we could just see that no grip whatsoever. Once you get offline here, the little marbles of racetrack, the little bits of balls of rubber that roll off the sides, that is Oriol Servia running wide there to the right hand side, but here comes Nelson Philippe. He turns in there, he's on line, but he just has to correct the car a little bit. He gets the back end snaps out a little bit under braking, and he tries to correct it, finds himself in the marbles and then into the wall. So that'll be a massive disappointment for the young Frenchman, 20 years old today, and he'll have to wait at least a couple more another week at least, before he has another opportunity to go for the first win of his career. He's had the first podium, got that back in Milwaukee. He's been a contender everywhere we've been the last few races, and last year of course in San Jose he had his best qualifying result thus so far in his career. He was 4th I think on the first day in San Jose. We'll be there in 1 week's time, Eric.
It'll be interesting to see what he has to say when he does get back to the pits about the situation through there, because like you alluded to, either somebody threw some dirt or somebody dropped some fluid or something, because it looked like they were on ice coming through there, just no grip whatsoever.
Yeah. The green flag is out. We're back to motor racing. 13 laps to go in Edmonton, and Justin Wilson again leads him down to turn 1. And there is Oriol Servia repaying the favour on Paul Tracy. You saw it out of the corner of the screen. There is Oriol Servia, makes the move ahead of Paul Tracy into 4th place. So Justin Wilson, he still leads, and we're going through this section now. We saw on the last restart, it's very, very slippery, Eric.
Well, it shows you how much Oriol Servia paid attention to that last restart where he got past, because he almost left that door open again for Tracy to pull the exact same move, only this time Servia shut it in time and holds that 4th spot.
It's going to be close to whether we can get this race in, I believe, before the time period does elapse. We've got an hour 45 minutes window for this motor race. I think we're just about going to get it in, as long as there's no more cautions. And for Justin Wilson, well, he would probably prefer to see some caution periods, because he knows that Sebastian Bourdais is lurking behind him with intent. Yes, intent to pass. Sebastian Bourdais wants to get win number 5 on the season and cement and strengthen his lead at the head of the championship. There is Carl Russo hiding behind his hands there, the team owner for the Rousport team, and Carl was in this position 1 year ago with his car leading the race, and it didn't end so good.
Yeah, the same gentleman was stalking his leader then as is doing so today, so I'm sure an unfortunate bit of deja vu for Mr. Russo.
Cameron Steele is with Carl Russo down on the pit lane, trying to get a word with him, as we're now inside 12 laps to go in Edmonton, and a great restart and a couple of laps by Justin Wilson on the black tyres, of course, down to Cameron Steele.
Well, I'm here with Carl Russo, the owner for Justin Wilson. Now, we've heard you joke around about Paul Newman and wanting to kiss him. Before the race, you guys did a high 10, so to speak, joking around. But right now, there's no joking around the racetrack between your two teams.
There's no joking around the racetrack at all. Sebastian and Justin are well and truly engaged in a battle. They've been battling for some 40 laps right now. Justin's been able to bring the CDW car to the front. We think he's got a good car on blacks, but everybody else is on reds, so we'll see.
Are you concerned a little bit right now with the setup, with the tire changes that happened in that last pit sequence?
No, I think Justin's very happy with the car right now, but we don't know what everybody else has got. So these first few laps look pretty good. Justin seems to be driving away. So there's no wood around here, but I started banging on it, so I don't have to kiss Paul Newman on the lips this week.
All right, thanks, Carl. We certainly hope there will be no kissing down here.
Yes, thank you, Cameron. So 7 podium finishes thus far in the career of Justin Wilson, 34 starts, 16, however, top 5 finishes. He made a kind of a career out of finishing 4th before he got onto the podium for the first time last year. He's had a couple of wins, of course. The latest one of those was at Mexico City last year, so it would be just wonderful for Justin Wilson to get his name back into the victory column, and it would certainly be some kind of a vindication, I believe, for Carl Russo, where this man, AJ Allmendinger, who previously drove the second of the Rousport cars, Carl Russo kicked AJ out of the team. AJ promptly won the next 3 races for Forsyth Championship Racing, but now, even though he's feeling sick, he's done an excellent job, and AJ running there still very strongly in 3rd place.
More telling is the fact we heard Craig Hampson talk about how much better he expected his car to be on those alternate Bridgestone Potenzas, but Justin's been able to hold him off, and neither one of them have had to do anything with their cars with power to pass. They've had clear track, and on equal footing, Justin is more than holding his own against Sebastian at the moment.
And that's the first time this weekend that we could say that, because Sebastian Bourdais has been the man to beat pretty much all weekend long. He was quickest in both qualifying sessions, earning himself a couple of championship bonus points in the mix. And Justin, he wasn't unhappy with the balance of his car, but it wasn't quite there. I was speaking to David Brown on Friday after the qualifying session. He said, we're close. We think we're close on the car. We think we know what we need to do to take it to the next level and challenge the Newman Haas Racing cars. Well, we saw in qualifying yesterday that Justin put up a pretty strong challenge, but it was still Sebastian Bourdais who took the pole position, and Justin had to make do with 3rd on the grid, and a couple more tweaks for today, and they got Justin's car running absolutely perfectly. A great strategy by that team, and you can see that gap now. It's out to over 2 seconds between Wilson and Bourdais, with now less than 10 laps to go.
Yeah, he just hung a second on Sebastian on that last lap, and as we said, it shows what kind of car he's got now, because there's no traffic in front of him. Nobody's on the power to pass. It's just what I got against what you got. And right now, what Justin's got is a little quicker than that of the 2-time defending champion. And AJ hanging right in there in 3rd, less than a second behind Sebastian. So he's giving him a battle. Oriole and Paul in 4th and 5th. Oriole's dropped back a little bit, but doesn't seem to be in any imminent danger from Paul Tracy for that 4th spot.
So there we are, lap 77 now completed. Just 8 laps to go now for our race leader, Justin Wilson. If there's any consolation for Sebastian Bourdais, would be that he has already picked up the 2 bonus points for qualifying on the quickest in each of the 2 days. Also the bonus point for leading today, and at the moment at least, the bonus point for setting fastest lap of the race. And amazingly, if he maintains that bonus point for fastest lap today, it would mean that on every circuit on which we race, Sebastian Bourdais has set the fastest lap of the race. It's an amazing record by this Frenchman, 27 years old, and the chassis that he is driving this weekend, Sebastian Bourdais, it's an 05 Lola chassis. Number is 01, the chassis number on that car, and this is his 12th race in that car. He's won 6 of those 12. An amazing record. But the car actually that Justin is running is an 06 chassis. It's the newest of the Lola chassis. It's his first run this weekend, and can he come away with a victory?
Just 7 more times around the 1.973 mile, 14 turn Jagflow Speedway here at Edmonton City Center Airport, the 2nd running of the West Edmonton Mall Grand Prix presented by the Brick, and Justin Wilson in perfect position to pick up win number 3 on his career, and he would move into 2nd place if things hold station over the next 7 laps. He would move ahead of AJ Allmendinger back into 2nd place in the championship.
Yeah, back into the 2nd place in the championship. He lost that 2nd place to AJ after AJ's run of 3 wins in a row last time out in Toronto, but now it's all looking very, very good for Justin Wilson. And I wonder are they going to try and rub it in and go for that fastest lap point as well? Last time around, 1 minute .284, the fastest lap of the race so far, set by Sebastian Bourdais back on lap 62. That was a 59.614. Justin's best, 59.665. So just 0.05 of a second between those two, and that is a battle. That is the difference between 1 bonus point in the championship, and at the end of the season, 1 bonus point could be crucial.
Interesting that we're down to 6 laps to go in this race, Sebastian almost 3 seconds behind Justin. AJ, almost another 2 seconds further back. They don't have lap traffic to contend with.
Jon Beekes with Jimmy Vasser, the team owner for Oriol Servia.
And that 3 seconds with 6 laps to go with Jimmy Vasser, you've got power to pass time. Is it enough to close that gap and go for the podium?
Well, we hope so. Funny story, I told him I'd pay him $1,000 if he used it on the restart. He doesn't like to use the button, but he pushed it, got the Gulfstream car back past Tracy. We're hoping to run Allmendinger down, but with 5, 6 to go, it's not looking like it, but anything can happen.
Now, why do drivers not want to use it? Why do you have to bribe them $1,000 to make that?
I think he tries to save it for the end or something, but PT passed him on the first restart, and he didn't hit the button, so it was just kind of a joke. But we got 5 to go here. It's probably going to be looking like we're going to be 4th, but we're optimistic at the Gulfstream car on the podium.
Still got some power to pass. $1,000. That's a pretty good deal.
Maybe 1,000 more.
Maybe 1,000 more. It's Jimmy Vasser there, the V with PKV Racing, along with Dan Pettit and Kevin Kalkoven. And Jimmy himself, of course, an illustrious career in the Champ Cars. He ended a streak of 211 consecutive Champ Car races at Long Beach. Since then, he's been content to sit on the timing stand and monitor the races from the pit lane. I know he's still got a lot of talent, I believe a lot of success in him if he wants to be a driver, but right now he's concentrating on the future as Jimmy Vasser, and he's watching his man at the moment in 4th place, and the team car of Catherine Legg, she did get going again. She's 12 laps down. In 14th place is Catherine Legg in the second of the PKV cars, but now inside 5 laps to go, there goes Justin Wilson. It is the fastest lap of the race, 59.330. So he got the word from the team and he has delivered. Justin Wilson is flying.
Interesting to finish the thought we talked about before we went down to Jan. Sebastian and AJ now 4 seconds behind. They've got clear track, they've got no lap cars to deal with, and they've got 30 seconds advantage of power to pass on Justin, and neither one of them have touched it. It's like they're content just to sit back and kind of watch from afar, and Justin just snapped off a 59.3. We'll see how Sebastian reacts to that, because they just took a valuable point away from him.
Yeah, they did, and as we said, every point counts. We came into the weekend with only 28 points covering the top 3. Justin Wilson was the 3rd place of those top 3, so this will be a good bonus for him. He will get 31 points for the win, and possibly now the bonus for fastest lap of the race as well. Sebastian brought and a point also for leading. There's another lap quicker again for Justin Wilson. 3 laps to go. He's still got the hammer down. So the 31 for winning the race, 1 for the fastest lap, 1 for leading, so 33 points for Justin Wilson. Bourdais, 27 points for 2nd place, 1 for provisional pole on Friday, 1 more for the pole on Saturday, and 1 more for leading the race this afternoon. So it'll be a net gain of 3 points for Justin this afternoon. There is one of the Team Australia cars. Is Will Power, who is, again, he's been the top place rookie all weekend long. An excellent run to 6th place. A huge crash he had on Friday morning, backed it into the tyre wall. Les Shannon and the boys had to completely rebuild from scratch a bare chassis that had been repaired after Tagliani crashed it at Toronto a couple of weeks ago, and he has done just a brilliant job. The entire team has done a brilliant job this weekend, and Will looking to strengthen his lead in the Roche Fans Rookie of the Year standings.
Major kudos to the Team Australia group. I mean, that was a nasty crash. Could have been really bad, but it was definitely something that put the Team Australia guys to work in the overtime mode, and to get that car out, and not only get the car out and get it functional, but to get it to where Will Power can run it to a 6th place finish. That would be his career best in his young Champ Car career, and major kudos to the Team Australia guys for getting that done.
Yeah, super job. They've really worked hard, those guys, and on a fairly regular basis they've been knocking on the door, certainly of the top 3 or 4. Perhaps not the case this weekend. Tagliani, for some reason, just hasn't got to grips with the car this weekend, and that's strange because he's been flying in the last couple of races. Both Tagliani and Will Power have set a fastest lap within the last 2 or 3 events, so the pace is there, but Tagliani just not able to get it out of the car this weekend. And now after that incident a little while ago, Tagliani showing in 12th place, and there the white flag is flying for Justin Wilson. So we've got just 1 lap to go, less than 2 miles. There is a slower car in front of him. There is Carl Russo, David Brown, the technical director on the right hand side. Less than 2 miles to go for Justin Wilson.
looks like Tagliani's going to finish this race in the pit. A.J. Allmendinger just sat on that power to pass button that entire last lap and turned to 59.9, his fastest lap, but it's not going to be fast enough to run down what Justin did, which underscores even more what Justin was able to do.
It does indeed, and the last lap by Justin was a 59.7. Sebastian Bourdais only a 62-second lap, so a big difference. There's Andrew Ranger getting out of the way of Justin Wilson. So now just 4 more corners to go for the Englishman. He's done an absolutely superb job this afternoon, has Justin Wilson, 27 years of age. He's got a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks, and now just the final chicane to go. Here he comes through to 13, left-handed through 14. The checkered flags are waving, and there is the victory goes to the CDW car of the Rousport team and Justin Wilson. Hugely, richly deserved by that team. They've been knocking on the door all season long. 4 second place finishes he's had, and finally that first win.
A big win for Justin, and just to keep pace, Sebastian did everything he could do to steal that fastest lap on his last time around. Ran a 59.242, just 200ths away from stealing that point back from Justin on the very last lap, as we see the lanky Brit burning the Bridgestone Potenzas off of that Rousport mount.
We've seen in the past that Justin has got these donuts down to a T, and the crowd here go absolutely berserk. You hear him there, it's fantastic. There's so much enthusiasm. Has he stalled it? I think he has. Oh well, great donuts up until then, Justin. I think he's going to have to wait now for the safety team to come out and give him a push start. So a little bit of embarrassing for Justin Wilson, but everything else has gone his way. An exemplary performance by the entire team, and Wilson wins his first race of the year. So there he is. He has stalled it in actual fact, so not quite as perfect afternoon for Justin, but he won't mind that. Well, listen to the applause he's getting from the crowd. Great stuff. He's done a fabulous job. And there he is, all 6'5" of him waving to the crowd and acknowledging the cheers here from his almost capacity crowd at the Jagflow Speedway at the city centre airport. There they are. Just massive enthusiasm all weekend long. Temperatures up here in the 90-degree range, the high 30s here. It's really been hot this weekend. The hottest days on record we hear in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. But for Justin Wilson, I'm sure everything is cool, because he's come away with a deserved 3rd win of his career and his first of this season.
And he gains 5 points on Sebastian, as you alluded to earlier. Sebastian will hold the lead coming out of here. He'll have 221 points unofficially. Justin Wilson goes into second, 198, close that gap to 23, which is the gap they started the weekend with over Allmendinger. But a key win, a key weekend for Justin Wilson, a key win for Rousport. As you alluded to, they've been getting beat up a little bit after the Allmendinger switch, and Cristiano had come over and run well, but not quite as well as they had hoped. And to get this win here today, the 3rd win of the career for Justin Wilson, a huge accomplishment for that Rousport squad.
And a great run also for Oriol Servia to come home in 4th place. He was another of the guys who had a dismal start to the season. He was out of the first 3 races without seeing a checkered flag. He's come back strongly, and is now that will move him well up inside the top 10 in points. He'll make up a lot of ground there with that 4th place finish. There is the Champ Car safety team. They're going to tow Justin Wilson somewhat ignominiously to get him back running again, but he will get that Ford Cosworth engine running once more, and he'll bring it round to victory lane. It's certainly been just a real teamwork this weekend. As I said, I spoke to David Brown, the technical director. Let's go down to Jon Beekens.
Justin Wilson, we'll take a moment to talk to Sebastian Bourdais. Sebastian, that second set of tires seems as though you were really struggling.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. The car was the Magnum's car was really good to start with. We were able to pull away despite traffic, and yeah, we didn't save as much fuel as the others, but at the beginning, we were still able to kind of keep the gap. So I thought it was going to be a really good day, and second stint, I really don't know what happened, but completely lost the grip, lost the handling, and we had to accept defeat. I still would have liked to see what would have happened if Alex didn't run into me. I don't know what he did, but it was really a shame, because we would have pit probably 4 laps later, and the car was just starting to kind of walk. So it's a shame, but what can we do?
It's a shame, but it's still lots of points.
It is lots of points there. Second place points plus all the bonus points, the 3 bonus points that he earned this weekend. And as Eric Mock was saying, came within just a couple of hundredths of a second of snaring the fastest lap on the last lap of the race. But that point will go to Justin Wilson. Here he is on the end of a rope. And as I say, it's certainly not the way he would like to go to victory lane. He obviously stalled it one more time as well because they got the engine running again. But now it's back under tow and the Ford GT pace car right behind as well. And Justin enjoying the ride around, although out here on the far end of the racetrack, it's a working airport for 362 days of the year. But he'll be coming up shortly now to the grandstands, and he will get a huge ovation as he works his way along there. But as I was saying, a real team effort by the Rousport team. They worked so hard this year. They came in with massive expectations after winning comprehensively the final race of the 2005 season in Mexico City. Justin won the race. His then teammate AJ Allmendinger finished in second, and they thought they were going to be up and running and winning earlier this season. But it's taken them 8 races, Eric Mort, to get to victory lane.
8 hard-fought races, but I think that Carl Russo and the gang will forget about those previous 7 tonight, as this is a crew that really needed a W here today, and they most definitely went out and got it. Unfortunately for that team, they're on. They've got the field bookended this weekend. As Cristiano went out in that first lap issue that we saw, but Justin picked up the mantle and ran with it, and all applause to him as he ran a strong race and is now right back in that title hunt.
Yeah, we thought after the first 4 races of the season, and here he comes, the grandstands now to his left, and he's getting the applause from the crowd. Everybody on their feet here applauding the car home, and I don't know whether he ran it out of fuel or whatever happened. Maybe he even broke the gearbox or transmission or something. It's strange that he wasn't able to bring it down. Cameron Steele has AJ Allmendinger, the 3rd place finisher.
I'm here with AJ Allmendinger after 3 wins in a row. The podium, maybe not exactly what you're looking for, but you were sick as a dog going into this. How was it, your body conditioning when you were out there?
I mean, it was tough for sure, but you got to fight through it, no excuses. The whole Forsyth Index team, they did a great job to give me a good car, and we had a tough weekend, 3rd place car, and that's how you stay in contention for a championship. So just thanks to Red Bull and the whole Forsyth team, everybody here at the track and at the shop. So thank you.
Right on, let's go over to Jan Beekes.
And Justin Wilson has finally made it here to Victory Circle. The celebration, the confetti going off. He'll quickly try to get the helmet off. Justin, let's get you to pop out of there as quickly as you can. Here he comes, Justin Wilson, first win of this season, well alive in the points. And Justin, I guess it doesn't matter how you get the car to Victory Circle as long as you're P1.
Yeah, no, I thought I'd keep going to a few extra donuts for Derek. So, it was the car was awesome all race, and we're just really pleased to get the first win for the CDW number 9 team.
Tell me about the key moment. Certainly for you was a pit stop, taking less fuel, and then your battle with Bourdais, moving through.
Yeah, it was just great strategy by my engineers. They did a fantastic job and was able to run fast and close down the gap. And Sebastian made a mistake, and I managed to get by. So, yeah, it's feels pretty good.
This is a very physically demanding track. How'd you hold up?
That was tough. It's one of the toughest races. The arms are definitely getting heavy. It's harder to concentrate, but you just know you've got a great car and just keep pushing harder and harder every lap.
Justin Wilson, good points day and a victory, first of the season.
Wave it, baby.
And his race engineer is Todd Malloy, who previously worked with a bunch of different teams, including Paul Tracy, and he was with Tracy when he won the championship in 2003. Here again, the unofficial results: Justin Wilson winning by 8 seconds over Sebastian Bourdais. Cameron
Jeremy
Steele,
Dale, the president for Rousport. You guys needed a big win this season. Now you have it. Do you think this can take you over the hump? Start with some momentum.
Well, you know what? It was just a phenomenal effort for the team, and a bittersweet day. Cristiano got caught in turn 1, and that was really disappointing. But man, this 9 car, everyone just did such an awesome job. Congratulations to all of them. They really deserved it.
Thank you, Jeremy. Back up to the booth.
So there is the team present from Canada. So his hometown is Toronto, Jeremy Dale. He has put this team together for Carl Russo, and it's been a long time coming this year, but you could hear certainly the delight in Jeremy Dale's voice, and also of Carl Russo and Justin Wilson. The point standings unofficially after this event, as you can see, Justin Wilson just 23 points behind, so Justin and AJ effectively switched positions again this afternoon. Sebastian Bourdais comfortably out in front, but it's certainly by less than a win's worth. Wilson and Allmendinger scrapping over second place. Paul Tracy now, he was 11th coming into the weekend in Toronto 2 weeks ago in the points table, and now vaulted all the way to 4th.
As we talked about in the Open, Oriel Servia comes from 11th when the day started, and one good strong run, and now he's up in 8th, and each one of those positions is another 10 grand at the end of the year in bonus money, so those guys are definitely paying attention to what goes on behind them.